Hey, welcome to the Mortgage Athlete Podcast. Once again this week with my host, Tom Reber, and we have our special guest, David Heekin of Landmark Title, legend in these parts of town and well-known. That's why we wanted to have on to bring our audience in, because we have some events coming up next week, want to know, and we want to talk about some of those things and the importance of the Mortgage Bankers Association today, as well as update everyone what's going on in the market from that standpoint. So, Tom?
Thank you, Tracy. David Heekin.
Thank you for having me.
Landmark Title.
Appreciate it.
A mortgage athlete's best friend is an awesome attorney named David Heekin.
Thank you.
If you don't know David Heekin, you need to get to know David Heekin in Landmark Title.
Does being on this show make me an athlete now?
Quite frankly, yes.
I'll take it.
Yes. Hey, you're built like a green stick. You know, I got a muffin top.
Yeah.
You know, I run a 7.240 now, but I'm not late for dinner.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
I'm a huge fan of Landmark Title.
Thank you.
Your attorney athletes, your closing athletes, make us look great every day.
Thank you.
And being in this market for many years, attending probably about 92% of my closings, not all of them are perfect. And your attorney athletes, your back shop athletes have done such a good job of making sure that the mortgage athlete looks good.
Thank you. There are a lot of my peers who are the first to throw lenders under the bus if a closing is going bad. And I've never understood that. To me, that's just, you don't need to do that, okay? But it just, from a business standpoint, too, it's a terrible idea. We need to all get along in this sandbox and find a way to work together. And there are good lenders, there are bad lenders. I'm sitting in front of two of the best right here. But we have to deal with who we have to deal with sometimes. But it's not productive to bash the lender, and that just gets out into the world, and then you've got a reputation at a title company as somebody who points fingers at other people. We all make mistakes. Yeah, Landmark Title's 100%. Made our share.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's we love being the lender's partner, and I think we have a reputation among the lender community as a lender friendly title company, and as somebody that they know that they can go to, and the closing is going to be handled well and professionally, and things are going to be buttoned up.
You know, it's just bringing up something that was brought up there. Blair Owen, I think I put her out her reel this morning. She was starting. You know, stuff happens in our industry, and everybody has to start somewhere. Whether it's new, but even some of the most experienced closers that we have at Cross Country or Town Bank Mortgage, sometimes something's fumbled. I mean, stuff happens. But Landmark is like some of the best real estate agents out there. You guys are covering a lot of the problems, and we don't even know there were problems anymore during the whole process. Yeah.
And to that point, witnessing and respecting your team do their job, collaborating with your team, that's a big thing that we've had on the Mortgage Athlete Podcast for a long time now, is the collaboration of talent. The compression of information up front is key with your real estate partners, with your closing agent partners, with your home insurance partners. All those pieces come together with a highly qualified mortgage athlete.
Yeah.
You have a better than good chance to get the deal done.
Yep.
And that's number one. Number two, the resource that you provide to the marketplace with regards to helping the real estate agents get somewhat legal advice, but how about a legal opinion on things when it comes to the real estate, the zoning, and things like that you guys do is huge.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, we have over a dozen attorneys, real estate attorneys at Landmark. I don't know the exact number right now, but it's considerably more than our next closest competitor in the industry. Yeah. And we're overstaffed at all levels. We like to be. We are ready for this year. It's off to a huge start.
Yes.
Everybody I talked to is saying the same thing. I had one big real estate team lead on the phone with me this morning, and he said, "David, how's business?" I said, "We're about 25% ahead of where we normally are in January." And he said that they have already written more contracts this month than they wrote the last 90 days of 2023.
2023 was
the fourth quarter was just brutal. When rates hit 8% in October, buyers took their toys and went home, and for the most part shut down for the whole year, because then you get holidays and it just built on itself.
Exactly.
So, the fourth quarter was bad, wasn't it?
Yeah. David, expand a little bit, because I know when I had you on the podcast, I think it's been almost 2 years now. You've been opening offices around Florida. Obviously, your headquarters is here, so you're processing and things that are being done here. How has your expansion around Florida been?
It's going well. We opened 2 offices last year. We opened a Palm Coast office. So we consider that somewhat local because we can get down to it very quickly.
Right.
And we opened an office in Delray Beach. And so we now have 3 offices in South Florida, Miami, Delray Beach, and West Palm Beach. So we've got from Miami to Stewart pretty well covered, which is good. And then we've got a Clearwater office that's doing pretty good. So we're still looking to expand throughout the state, but not trying to force it. The Delray opportunity was from a closer who reached out to us. She'd seen just, the momentum building down in South Florida with Landmark. She wasn't happy where she was, reached out. We had a conversation. It was a good fit. It has to be a good fit.
Yes.
We're not going to
I was going to say, how are you keeping the culture? How are you keeping, because I know it's very important to you and reaching out from a distance.
Yeah, so we go over our 5 core values with any potential hire, which is fanatical attention to detail, white glove customer service, proactive problem-solving mindset, teamwork to make the dream work, and continuous improvement. And we just tell them, if these aren't your 5 personal core values, either you're not going to be a fit, let's not even do this. And then we go over our mission, which is helping real estate agents succeed and buyers and sellers close with confidence. And we say, do you get up every day and that's your focus? How can I help real estate agents succeed and make sure my buyers and sellers close with confidence? If it's not, be honest, you're not going to be a good fit. Our closings are fast, fun, and flawless. It has to be all 3. And so are your closings fast, fun, and flawless? If not, you're not going to be a good fit. So we're very careful about our culture. We've had this conversation before that you really have to protect the culture. You know this as well. And
I love him.
so, thank you. So the same thing with our closer in Palm Coast. She'd been with another title company for 20 years. They weren't treating her right. She had a way that she wanted to take care of her customers. They weren't supporting her that way. And so she'd heard about us just, being around, and we had a conversation, and that's how that one came to pass. So we're not, I'm not out there looking for space in Orlando or Gainesville right now or Tallahassee, but if it comes up, we're ready. The old saying, chance favors the prepared mind, right? So we're ready to take a chance.
He's got him like you got him.
I'm telling you, this guy's
He's
a
right.
machine gun.
Tom's writing these down.
I'm like I said, I fall in love with you. This is good. This is
Thank you.
speaking my love language.
Thank you. Yeah, we have fun. We love what we do, and you love what you do, Tracy. You love what you do. When you love what you do, it's not working. And I get up every morning excited. Some big news. I don't know if I've told you 2 gentlemen yet, but I stepped down as president of Landmark Title about 3 weeks ago.
What's next? What's going on?
Well, I'm CEO now. So it just lets me get up into the
so I had it right on the title. I put CEO.
Yeah,
okay, so
the email signatures had changed a couple weeks ago. So it just lets me get up in that CEO role and focus really more on visionary things, on strategy, on culture, removing obstacles and barriers, all the big picture things. Not get in the day-to-day anymore. Honestly, I just frustrated my team the last several years.
Oh, you got in the way of progress.
On the day-to-day, we're waiting on Dave. So Sherry Wise is our new president. She took over. Sherry's been with us about 4 years, and she's fantastic. She's had a legal administrative background her entire career, and she was ready for this role. And so Sherry's taken over, and we're just very excited about the future.
Yeah.
Number one, huge congratulations to you.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a super confident, calculated decision to step up and step out.
It has been building for years.
I figured. The scars and tattoos of that thought process, you get paralysis by analysis, you push it off to the side. It comes back in front, you build it up, you get to that point, you're like, no, I'm going to push it off to the side.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. About 5 years ago, I realized I have to get out of this role. If we're gonna keep growing and go to the next level, I've got to get out of this role.
I have the same challenges.
And it took long enough to find somebody like Sherry, who I trusted, number one. So that's a big thing. Who you hand it over to, they've got to be ready. She and I have to match very well. That visionary integrator role has to really get along and match well. Right, high trust. So I just wasn't ready, and I'd set a goal for myself at age 50 to be able to do this. I turned 49 in a week, so I'm a year ahead of schedule is the way I look at it.
Looks like he's 28.
But I'm still, thank you. It's because I wash my face with shampoo.
And that's a real fact, everybody.
Pantene, 10 and 1. My daughter's like, I tell her that, she's like, oh, Dad.
This is
my
the stuff
secret.
that you don't get on a
Costco,
normal show.
$8 a bottle.
Yeah,
$8. But yeah, so I consider myself to be a year ahead of schedule, which gives me time to work it out. Sherry and I meet weekly. We meet more often if we need to, but we meet weekly for at least an hour, and we've got our issues list and what are the things we've got to go over. And I do my best to stay out of her lane. You know.
Well, you know, the thing, and I'm a type A, like I think we all are, and you have control issues. And,
Absolutely.
And I have found that if given 5 minutes, I can screw up a good time.
Yep.
Especially if I come in half cocked.
Yep.
And then my team looks at me and says, Tom, we've been there, done that. And I'm like, oops, so sorry. I screwed up a good time in 5 minutes.
Yep.
I'll leave the room.
Yeah.
And they
So
get to
that's-
pick up the pieces.
That's me these days, right? You know, I think my business coach calls it seagull management. Just come in, crap, and then fly away. So,
Seagull.
you know,
I like it.
I love it. We know some people like that.
yeah. So
Yes, they do.
know thyself. You know, I was the president, the integrator of the company for the first 20 years. That's great. I did a decent job.
Great job.
But it was time to get out of that seat and let somebody get in that seat
Well-
who is better at that than I am.
I imagine some of the things going through your mind. Obviously, when there's change, or in this case, management change, but you're still there every day. You're still available. You're being seen every day. So I would imagine, obviously, you tried to make it as seamless as possible.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we did, and the office, the employees love Sherry, and that's very important because culture is very big for us. She has a high level of respect, but also on a friendship level, she's really able to walk
gets
that
the
line
people.
very, very well. Gets people very well, and so yes, I'm still there, going into the office every day, but it actually frees me up now to go take an attorney to lunch that I didn't have time to before,
You know,
and
I've got
brainstorm with them on what can we do to be getting you some more business. So it's freeing me up to do the things that I'm better at.
Well, I'm glad you transitioned into that part because I want to kind of circle back to the whole MBA part. What are the challenges that maybe you've had in 23, but going into 24, as far as in the title world, in what you do?
Well, 23 was an awful year for everybody.
Ooh.
And at this time last year, when a lot of people were optimistic, I remember I had a conversation with a mortgage professional, market leader, and he said, "Oh, rates are going to be back in the 5s this year." And I said, "No, they're not. They're not going to be in the 5s. I didn't think they'd hit 8, but I knew they'd be in the 7s."
Right.
I just said inflation's out of control. We're printing money and spending it left and right. It's not going. And look at the report yesterday. Inflation higher than they expected. Well, of course, we just voted to give Ukraine another $95 billion that we don't have. Right? It just doesn't make sense. So I remember telling them, no, it's going to be an awful year. Batten down the hatches. Do what you got to do. So myself and our business development team, we spent. And, the attorney closers who do a lot of business development, we spent the last year really, locking down relationships, cultivating some new ones, knowing that the payday wasn't going to be until this year. And we did about 4,300 closings last year.
Wow.
I think we'll do 6,000 this year.
Wow.
And that's with not a lot of refis. I mean, we think refis are going to
no,
come back
I
a
don't
little
see
bit.
any refinance business this year.
But we just think that the relationships we cultivated last year and, just being consistent and doing the things right, blocking and tackling, just doing the right things is going to start to pay off. I think we have the staff currently that we did 4,300 with to be able to do 6,000, maybe adding a couple. So last year was really sort of getting ready for 2024 is how I looked at it.
Well, I was talking more because obviously the Mortgage Bankers Association being the advocate for the mortgage bankers, RPAC with the realtors. Is there things going on? Obviously the recent legislation and helping from the insurance side. Homeowners insurance is a killer. You're on the end of the transaction. Sometimes it's killing our transactions before they even get started, or killing deals for agents because all of a sudden that payment for that home just went up $200 or $300 more than they expected. What do you have on your horizon, or things that you're pressing for in Tallahassee
That we're worried about?
Yeah, or just things that maybe could be improved.
I'm on the Government Affairs Committee for FLTA, which is the Florida Land Title Association, which is our big industry group. And I'm trying to get more involved with FLTA, especially as I've moved away from president up into the CEO role. I mean, we meet monthly and we're just monitoring some of the bills. There's not a whole lot that I've seen this year that's concerning me. Obviously, there was a flurry of legislation last year that affected real estate. It felt like more bills last year than the prior 5 combined. It was a large amount. I can't say there's anything on the regulation side that I'm really concerned about, Tracy, on the title side going into this year, though.
Well, we see a lot of moving parts with regards to Tallahassee and the government, with regards to homeowners insurance, out of control.
Yeah.
Out of control. We also are seeing different crazy bills being put out there to say, hey, for example, here locally, I want to say one of the city councilmen put a bill out to Tallahassee, of all places, to take HOAs and give them a 15% haircut and give it to the community. And
I saw that.
So it looks like it may have fallen apart already.
I hope so.
I mean,
we don't need anything that's going to raise anybody's fees any more than they are. I mean, you mentioned insurance. Tallahassee has done nothing to really fix insurance. They just nibbled around the edges and it did absolutely nothing. Property taxes concern me too, because the municipalities aren't cutting the millage rate. They're not necessarily raising it, but you don't have to raise it when you keep assessing people's property
for a great
10% more a year if it's commercial or investment, and you're going up the max 3%. You don't have to. So you and I were around in the crash of 06.
Yep.
Well, what really got a lot of people was their property tax bill.
Correct.
Yep.
Now, Nicole Carroll on your team has put a bill out there for the veterans to get their taxes taken care of up front rather than have to go and wait 5, 6, 8, 10 months. Big opportunity there. I'm a big advocate of what she's doing, which is really, really cool to help the veterans with their tax status and things like that.
That will certainly help. She's also trying to push one forward for prorating the homestead tax exemption. If you're a buyer and you buy mid-year and it's your homestead and you're buying from somebody who did not have the homestead tax exemption, they were an investor or whatever, you get to go back and claim homestead exemption for that year. So that'll be great if that passes. There are so many bills being introduced in Tallahassee.
Do you think they did the March thing with the homestead because of technology? Now they should be able to do that really quick. You know, with the lack of technology, I wonder how long that's been in effect.
A long time, and it probably could have been back when everything was paper and you had to go down to the tax collector's office and fill something out.
Right.
Oh, wait
you
a
had
minute.
to wait.
That's the way we've always done it.
Yeah, that's the way we've always done it.
That's right.
That's how we do it around here.
That's how we do it. That's the way we've always done it. We have to stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a bill I'm trying to advance. It's not going to go anywhere this year, but it's relates to portability and the fact that sellers just are not getting the portability that they should be getting. It's so inequitably determined because of the mass appraisal system that the property appraiser's offices use. It's not going to go anywhere this year. I'm hoping I can get it going next year. I need to have time to go out and lobby it myself because it's a difficult concept to explain. I need to get NBA and FAMP and FLTA behind it, and I just haven't had time. But I'm going to push it next year. It's tough with the legislative session is 60 days, and you just have hundreds of bills, maybe thousands of bills filed, and only 200 to 300 are going to get through, and the governor's going to handpick a certain. It's a tough process. So hopefully I'll be ready next year because to what you were saying, that's when I went to the property appraiser and says this isn't fair, and this is how I think you can make it fair, and it's not going to be a lot of work. They gave me pushback. Well, this is how we do it around here.
That's how we do it. Look, I respect the tax collector. I respect the property appraiser. I am in the mode of you can do it better, faster, more efficiently,
more equitably,
more accurately. So, I mean, one of the things today when you look at one of my favorite phrases, and Tracy, you can hit the button: people, process, technology, in that order brings synergy. Technology enhances the process speeds the people, but you have to take that and use it appropriately and get it done. So your tax collectors need to have a game plan on how to revolutionize the system and make the system enhanced by the technology so their people that are working at the tax collector's office can say, here is what portability means, and this is a simple formula on how to get it. Here's what this means. That way, and it can be done now instead of wait 6 months, 8 months, a year.
Yeah. It can easily. All I did was go in and took an existing statute on portability, redlined it, took a few things out, added a few things. I made it. I'm a keep it simple, stupid kind of guy, and I made it to where I think this will. If I can get this passed, it will give sellers what they deserve when they deserve it. Because. Why is this important? Because with high interest rates and high house prices, you know as well as I do, you guys are squeezing people in on DTI. Every little bit you can get to help, and you can say, hey, I'm porting $120,000. So you get to, on your end, go ahead and calculate that into their mortgage payment.
That would be great.
Right? It's a win-win-win-win-win all the way around. It's the right 100%. Thing to do. It's doing what the bill was intended to do.
It's executing the bill to today's performance standards.
Correct. Absolutely.
Love it.
Yep.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
No, that's valuable information right there. And actually, I'd love to have someone come on and just talk about portability because I don't think it's although occasionally they'll have a class somewhere, but I think portability is more important than a 1031 exchange class.
100%.
Sellers have no idea because let's say you could port an extra $1,000 a year. That stays with you for life.
Yes.
And we have helped sellers by going to the property appraiser and arguing on their behalf. We've helped them port $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 more a year. And that goes with them for life. It's incredible.
That is
how many
massive.
sellers, they don't understand. They just, portability is a number, and that's just, it is what it is. They don't know that they can go sit down with a property appraiser and say, we think you've got it all wrong. You value my house at $300. It's really worth $500.
Yes.
You want to, and this is the case where you want to argue your house is worth more.
Of course.
And show them proof.
And so there's a handful of realtors out there that know how to do that. There's a handful.
Handful.
I can name 5.
Right.
I go to meeting with agents, and I said, I look at houses in vintages. When they look to go do a listing, I said, go look at the vintage. Go look at their tax bill. Help them out. And they're like, wow, that's gold. I said, no, that's providing influence and value. That's how you earn your fee for service.
It goes hand in hand with the insurance and the flood insurance, right?
100%.
Assuming the previous policy, having those things in your tool belt could be huge for a new buyer.
Right.
It's that influence and value, and this is what we've been talking about in previous episodes, is how do we take and collaborate sooner than later, get the answers to the quiz up front, which is another one of my buttons. I love the
Answer the quiz up front.
Data, information is power, just like you're talking about, and being able to implement that at a speed of what today's business is, we have a combustion. And that's what makes a great mortgage athlete. That's what makes a great transaction of collaboration.
It's the little things.
It takes a village to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it goes into we were talking yesterday via email because I want to do a show on the real estate excellence about the NAR lawsuit and get some of your attorneys in and you recommended Howard, which I think is a great one because I know he's in depth into that kind of stuff. But these type of things, these agents, to show their value, because that's what the NAR lawsuit is really saying to the agents. You need to explain your value, and these type of little things, whether it's portability or insurance with the flood, things that shows huge value.
I think that's the game changer, David, is being able to go in and provide the influence and value of substance to the transaction, whether it's the mortgage, whether it's real estate, whether it's the legal part of it, insurance. Put that together. You become the Swiss Army knife of connections.
There you go. It's going right down the list.
So
ABC, always be consulting. Right? You got to add value. You've got to be, like you said, on all those topics.
all those
You can't be a successful real estate agent and not know a little bit about all those topics and be the guy that knows the guy. Oh, you need more about this? Let me let you talk to this person.
Poll the audience. Do a 50-50. Phone a friend. Love that.
Right.
Because if you do that effectively, you always have a seat at the table. All right, I'm going to do my shameless plug. February 21st, 10 o'clock to 11:30. Brian Sexton, the original voice of the Jaguars, is going to be at the Bank of England
Is that an
Theater.
official name, the original voice of the Jaguars, or is that something he's claimed now?
No, that's his original. He is the original voice of the Jaguars.
Is that what they called him?
YouTube Brian Sexton, the best Jaguar radio calls ever were
It'll
done by
say
him.
the original.
I'm telling you, he's the original voice of the
Well,
Jaguars.
I don't claim that he wasn't. I'm sure he was.
That is his moniker.
That is his call sign.
Yeah, that's his call sign. But his message is extremely powerful.
I've heard him speak on many occasions. He's an incredible public speaker. He speaks with such credibility and knowledge on a subject, and really from the heart. It's great.
The juice. And so I go to the Jaguar games, and he's carved out his niche now with Jags Wired, Jaguars.com. He does the pregame with Fred Taylor, halftime as well as postgame with Fred Taylor, as well as a lot of the advertising pieces and things like that. I played with Brian at the stadium, and I walk over to he and Fred Taylor, and we have a conversation. They're so engaging with the crowd. They bring so much lift to everybody. But his message that he's going to bring to the NBA of Jacksonville event is phenomenal. It's called Changing Your Frequency. Finding your frequency. Learning how to make adjustments. If you're at 104.3 and you need to be at 104.5, you can hear there's a lot of static. And he's going to help you with his delivery of message to get to the 104.5 so everybody's clear.
Fantastic.
And go to the next step. So please, if you're a member, $15, go to nbajacksonville.org. If you're not a member, it's $25, nbajax.org. It's simple. The website there, the link's there. It's next Wednesday, 10 o'clock to 11:30. Bank of England Theater, we want a packed house. We
Right.
want a rocket. And I'm a huge
And
bisect
this
fan.
is not only loan officers; they surely should be there. Your referral partners
Yes, sir.
should be there. Insurance agents should
Yes.
be there. I mean, really, anyone connected in the industry. Hopefully, David shows up and
I'll be
brings
there.
some of his people,
Yeah.
and maybe Brick can get it out for us because I know she has an influence to encourage people to go.
Here's the
But
deal.
but I also want to put out you're paying $25 because you're a non-member. You become a member for
for-
what until June, I
until
guess,
June.
because if
Yeah,
you show up.
yep.
But people have to also remember the Mortgage Bankers Association is our advocate, is our lobbyist in Tallahassee and on a national basis. So you're trying to raise a little bit of money
Our
here
goal
as
is
well.
$10,000 by
Really
June.
pocket change, when you think about it,
Pocket
you know,
change.
because after you pay for everything, and Brian's giving his time to come
free.
and speak with us. That's what it's going for, and we're supporting. The MBA and RPAC are hand in hand.
Yes.
Out there. So come and be involved. And
Without a doubt.
and
And,
network.
we'll get back to the show here. The thing is check your logos and labels at the door. You're in our industry. Come to the show.
yeah,
If you don't make a friend and learn somebody new, because we can all trade paint, we can't all do everything. That's on you. Find a friend, and I can't wait to see you. And if you don't know Tom Reber, you don't know David, you don't know Tracy, come to the show and meet us.
You two gonna be there?
yeah,
I'm gonna be there.
yeah, be there.
Let's
yeah,
go. But we'll have fun. I can tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick the
We
event
have
off.
fun wherever. We
Hey,
go.
I sent an email blast out to my actually I don't know if I sent it to everyone that's been on the podcast, but a group of them said if you want to go, contact me. I'll pay the $25
Let's
for
go.
you. That's my taking you out to lunch.
Let's go.
We're gonna go to the MBA.
I love you, Tracy.
Yeah.
You're the man. You're a good human.
I tried to get him to do a contest. He
Well,
hasn't
here's
come
what
up
I'm
with a
trying. I'm
prize yet.
trying to surprise with some swag that's a game changer.
Okay.
I'll just say number 28 may be involved. I'm working.
Well, okay. All right.
So
All
I
right.
can tell you,
There
we're
we
leaving
go.
at that.
Future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing about it is, you don't have no voice if you don't participate. And one more thing that I have that you have on the button: if you want to fix something for a moment, you write a check. If you want to fix something for life, it's called sweat equity. You'll always have a seat at the table, and you'll always have a voice.
Yep.
So anyway, come to the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's important to support the people that are at the point of the sword.
Right.
You may not want to go to Tallahassee. You may not even know what the subject is, which is one of the things we wanted to talk about. Which is, I know, you get passionate about when you come in here and release some steam on me. Things like the trigger leads. Our these buyers are calling in as soon as we pull their credit. All of a sudden, they got 30 calls coming in. And it's just not. It's not good for the industry, and you were talking about it. I think it was just yesterday, or the day before. As a real estate agent, you should be passionate about this too, because you got a client who's got pre-approved. You're like, hey, he's with Tom Reber. Tom says he's good. He's good. This is going to run smooth. And all of a sudden, you got, I'm not going with Tom. He doesn't have the good enough rate. I'm going with this XYZ lender. I don't even know where he's at.
That right now? What do you
So
do? Education.
and it's a great question, David. But you counter it by saying, hey, look. When you sit there and get inundated, one, can you trust the information you're getting? Number one. Trust but verify, right?
Right.
One of our favorite phrases. Number two, they came out of nowhere and they don't understand the transaction.
Right.
They could be somewhere else in Seattle, for all places, or Kansas City. Bottom line is, it's a cohesive transaction. What you're doing is thrusting upon, from the credit repositories, random people to just call. They have no idea about the transaction. The customers shop already. We're already having a shop. You allow it. When you go buy a car, you shop 2 or 3 different Chevy dealerships, whatever it may be. The bottom line is, it's the collaborative approach, understanding the nuts and bolts of the transaction that comes together. And 9 out of 10 times, the transaction is very competitively priced.
Yeah, sure.
9 out of 10 times when you get together with everybody. The cool thing about real estate transactions is every house is different. Every transaction is a little bit different. And you have to have a dance that's this way or a dance that's that way. But that collaboration comes together. When you have out-of-town partners or partners that really don't know what they're doing, it becomes more of a thorn in your side. And people sometimes chase shiny objects just to find out that it wasn't as good as it was cracked up to be. And you lose 48 hours. You lose 72 hours.
Just save an eighth of a point on a rate or something. It's
whatever
just
it may
not
be.
right.
So you counteract it by providing the influence and value, as well as understanding and knowledge, and the cohesiveness of the transaction. And 97% of the time that works. But the chaos of trigger leads. I had a customer call me and said, Tom, stop. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, I have been contacted 20 times today. My phone is on fire. And he goes, what do I do? I said, well, I don't know how to turn it off. And that's the stuff in legislation today that we're going to say, look, we're all for competition. We're all for free market.
Right.
But
so it's the credit unions that are selling the leads?
No, it's the credit repositories.
Credit repositories.
So Equifax, TransUnion.
I'm sorry, I meant credit repository.
Credit repository. Equifax, TransUnion, Experian are when you do a hard pull in that tranche is now, if you're willing to pay money to them, they will send you that lead to that call center. So all of a sudden, it's a Serengeti of information, and it's thrust upon.
So is there legislation right now?
Yes, there's legislation today. There's a bill out there that we're hoping will get some serious legs on it. Okay. We're looking to get that done. There's many others, but that one right now, again, Valerie Saunders is the National Association of Brokers. National president is 4 or 5 doors down. We literally stood at the coffee pot, and we were just like dumbfounded. She put a LinkedIn post out there that I jumped on like crazy because she's exactly right. We're good with competition. We're good with openness to do business. What we're not good with is our customers being inundated with just a thrust of information.
3 weeks before closing, expecting to keep that closing date.
And it goes on and on.
All the other issues that we knew, as a local referral from an agent partner, what do we hear the complaints, right? They can't get a hold of the mortgage banker, doesn't return his calls. Where we have that relationship, they call. I know your team. You text message or call, they're right on it. It's the same thing. We have that relationship, and that's the value that this is taking